Welcome to the Wife Stories YouTube channel. New video every day, and don't forget to subscribe. Here we go.
I hear her footsteps echo on the hardwood floor, each tap a small thunder in the silence after she murmurs, "I love you." It's a tender phrase, but all I can focus on is the hollow sound of her heels as she walks away from me. Those steps carry more weight than her words ever could. Then she stops halfway across the living room, turns her head just enough so I can see the slope of her shoulder over the collar of her blouse, and says, "You were never my choice." At first, I don't register her meaning. My mind snags on those footsteps, on how each step was heavier than the last, as though she was marching toward an ending only she saw coming. My mouth goes dry. I swallow and try to speak, but all that escapes is a strangled, rasping whisper. Why? Wasn't I the right one? A small laugh, barely more than an exhalation. She presses her lips together, perhaps to stifle another bitter remark, then continues toward the kitchen. The overhead lamp flickers, some wiring problem we never fixed, and casts zigzag shadows on the wall, giving this moment a fractured, dreamlike quality. But this is real. The emptiness in her words is real. I'm not sure how long I stand there, staring at the place where she was, swirling in a storm of confusion and slow creeping anger. A few months ago, I would have simply followed her, asked if she was tired, if she had a rough day, if she needed a hug. I used to be that man, filled with unconditional concern, believing love was the bedrock that would hold us together no matter what. Now I'm not that man. I'm someone else, someone I don't recognize. And she's the one who turned me into this stranger with her betrayal. I close my eyes, trying to calm the pounding in my chest. A single thought repeats. She said, "I love you," and then told me, in the same breath, I was never her choice. The duplicity rattles me more than any insult or slap ever could. My mind surges with images, half-formed and savage. The unread emails I discovered, the so-called business trips that didn't add up, the subtle shifts in her routine, and that night I came home early to the flickering light on her phone screen. An unfamiliar name, Trevor, and a text that read, "We're on for tomorrow, same hotel as last time." That text was the spark. The rest of the evidence was tinder waiting to ignite. But it didn't become a raging fire right away. First, it was slow, creeping dread. I wanted to believe it was a misunderstanding, or that Trevor was a female colleague, or a friend from her design business. I was naive. With each piece of damning proof, the man I used to be died. And in his place rose a figure I still can't fully accept, the silent juror of her sins, waiting for the right moment to pass judgment. I step into the kitchen. She's leaning against the counter with a glass of water, her eyes distant. The overhead lights are bright here, erasing all shadows. She looks worn out but composed, hair still neatly in place, makeup pristine. On the surface, she's every bit the polished designer she always wanted the world to see. But I know what lurks underneath now, because I've read it. I've seen it. I've felt it. Why? I start again, forcing the words out. Why say I love you? Why toy with me like that? She looks at me. A flicker of something crosses her face. Annoyance, perhaps, or maybe pity. "Because it's what you want to hear," she answers, setting the glass down. "Don't you understand? It's easier this way." Easier. She's thrown that word at me before. When I asked her about the stilted late-night phone calls, about the long lunch breaks that turned into entire afternoons away, she always said, "It's just easier if you don't question everything." That was the moment I realized I had quietly given her all the power in our marriage. I was trusting, yes, but I was also complacent, scared to rock the boat. I had no idea that my boat was already halfway sunk. I turn on the small lamp in the corner, the one she bought at some boutique. Its warm glow fights against the harsh overhead bulbs. She hates having two light sources on at once, calls it visual clutter. But right now, I relish the competing brightness. I want the conflicting lights, the confusion, the discomfort. It's a reflection of what's going on inside me. I found your emails. I say, voice tight, measured. You didn't bother to hide them. Not really. She shrugs. I wasn't worried. You never snooped. You never suspected. I guess I underestimated your desperation at the end. A numb laugh stumbles from my lips. Desperation. That's the word. Once upon a time, desperation was the furthest thing from me. I was stable, dedicated to my job, proud of my family. Now I'm a detective in my own house, rifling through her phone records, double-checking receipts. I never asked for this role. Yet here I am, stooping this low because she dragged me down. My memory flits back to the day I found the explicit pictures. She had typed them out so plainly, describing what she wanted from him. The words read like a performance, as if the entire thing were a rehearsed production. That's what gutted me the most. Not just that she was with someone else, but how clinical and detached her approach was. She wrote about it like it was a contract, an arrangement that benefited them both, while I was the convenient husband at home, paying bills, holding the house, as she put it in one of her letters. She leans against the counter, crossing her arms. Her wedding ring winks under the fluorescent light. She notices me staring at it, and unconsciously twists it around her finger. Do you want me to take it off? She asks. A wave of nausea roils in my stomach. I don't care. I say, though my voice cracks, betraying me. Do whatever you want. Her footsteps retreat again. I follow her down the hallway, to our living room, the large open space with a floor-to-ceiling window. Outside, the city lights glow, reflected by the glass. We used to spend evenings here, sipping wine, talking about the day. Now, the couch stands like an unused prop on a stage. She stops in front of the window, gazing out at the neon skyline. Her silhouette is outlined by the glow. Slender shoulders, long hair. She still looks beautiful, even in her cruelty. And that's what tears me apart most. I still love her, or some version of her, despite everything. I step closer, my reflection joining hers in the glass. We look like strangers meeting for the first time. The hush of the night is thick, oppressive. Then, without warning, her phone buzzes. She glances at it, and I see the name. Trevor. Anger flares inside me. She hits ignore and breathes out. He's probably wondering if I left yet. Left for what? She hesitates, glances at me with half-lowered lids. Does it matter? I'm not going. Why not? Her mouth twitches. Because it's more complicated now. We stand there in suffocating silence. I imagine Trevor, tall, charming, a real estate agent with expensive suits and a rehearsed grin. The man who sold us this house. My memory jolts. The day we viewed this place, he smiled too readily at her, offered her a separate tour. I was too busy reading the property specs to notice how his hand lingered near her elbow. Now he's not just the guy who hammered out a mortgage contract. He's the one who hammered a wedge in my marriage. Suddenly, I can't handle the tension. I break away and head toward my home office. She's behind me, following, like I'm a magnet pulling her along. The hallway is dim, with only the faint glow of the lamp in the living room to guide us. Inside my office, it's more shadow than light. The small aquarium glimmers in the corner. The fish swirl in lazy orbits, oblivious to the chaos outside their glass world. I flip on the desk lamp. My reflection in the fish tank's glass is haggard, older than I remember. My hair has more silver now. My eyes look haunted. She stands at the threshold, arms crossed, weight on one hip. It's the worst part, I say, turning around. You made me doubt everything, even myself. You made me wonder if I was ever enough. And now you say I was never your choice. Why did you marry me then? Her posture stiffens. You were convenient. You were solid. You gave me stability, comfort. Don't act like you didn't benefit too, she says. You wanted a loving wife, someone who'd be there, keep your house together. You got it. at least for a while. I stare at her, breath catching in my throat. So that's it. The sum total of our years together. This cold transaction. A swirl of memories threatens to overwhelm me. Birthdays we celebrated, trips we took, the nights we huddled together in bed laughing about nothing in particular. Were all those moments illusions to her? She must see the confusion in my expression because she drops her gaze. "Look," she says, more quietly. "I didn't plan for it to be this way. I like you enough at the start. We had a good run. But then, I don't know, it all felt too small, like I was locked in a cage. With Trevor, it's different." There's a flash in her eyes, an echo of desire. A fresh wound tears open in my chest. I don't want to hear this, but part of me can't stop listening. "What's so different about him?" I ask. My voice is tight, barely contained. She exhales, gaze drifting. "He's dynamic, ambitious. He sees what he wants and takes it. It's exciting. He made me feel alive." A half smile crosses her lips. "You used to do that, but you got comfortable, Michael." I flinch at the use of my name. She rarely says it anymore. We're usually stuck in a loop of tension so thick words barely pass between us. A wave of anger surges up my spine. I worked my ass off to keep this house, to keep you happy. That's not comfortable. That's responsible. It's what men do. It's what I do. She shrugs again, a gesture that drains the remaining warmth from the room. Well, Trevor gave me more than just responsibility. I can't stand another word. My vision blurs with rage. I slump into my desk chair, trying to breathe. Silence stretches thin, taut. I half expect her to leave, but she stands there, eyes flickering from me to the aquarium. After a moment, she rubs her palms on her skirt. "I'm going to bed," she murmurs, turning away. It's late. I watch her leave. Her steps echo in the hallway until she turns the corner. Then the house is silent, except for the hum of the aquarium filter. My heart feels like it's beating inside my skull. I press my palms to my forehead, forcing myself to recall each piece of her betrayal. The explicit texts, the hotel receipts, the DNA test that confirmed something unthinkable. The child she lost last year. It wasn't mine. She hadn't even bothered to protect me from that final blow. I remember the lines from that message. She told him he was needed for something important, while I was just the keeper of the home. The words stun like acid. My phone vibrates. No one is calling at this hour except maybe my father or my sister, but it's just an automated bank alert. Even technology is mocking me, reminding me that finances and responsibilities never pause, even when your entire life is collapsing. I realize I can't sit still. I stand, shrugging on a light jacket from the coat rack. I leave the house quietly, not wanting her to hear me go. It's night outside, a hush in the suburban street. A few lamps glow in windows. Most people here are asleep, safe in their illusions of normalcy. I just walk, down the sidewalk, past darkened driveways, past the tall oaks that line our block. My mind churns. I'm searching for answers in the pavement cracks. She was never your choice. The phrase echoes, warping and folding in on itself. She said it so casually. Could it really be so simple? The love I felt, still feel, damn it, was never mutual. Or was it once, but fizzled out, replaced by ambition and excitement with another man? Time slips away. I'm not sure how long I wander under the streetlights, how many times I circle the block. Eventually, I return home, the same place that now feels like an enemy fortress. I step inside, locking the door behind me. The house is dark, except for a dull glow from under the bedroom door. She's in there, presumably. I can't bring myself to face her, not again tonight. Instead, I slip onto the couch in the living room. The city lights outside blink like dispassionate eyes. My reflection in the window is ghost-like. Exhaustion seeps into my bones. I don't bother changing clothes. I let myself drift into a restless, dream-plagued sleep where I see them together. The swirl of sheets, the shape of his body over hers, the heated flush on her face that I haven't seen in years. I jerk awake, trembling, my heart racing. I breathe in the stale air. Morning creeps in pale and cold. I sense her presence before I actually see her. She's standing at the threshold to the living room. I rub my eyes. What time is it? A little past 6. She answers stiffly. I slowly rise to a seated position. My back aches. I've never felt older. I glance at her. She's wearing one of those silky robes that Trevor might have bought for her. Or maybe she got it herself. My mind can't help but spin everything into suspicion now. She shifts on her feet. I need coffee, she mutters, as though that's a reason to stand there and stare at me. I say nothing, just watch her. Finally, she sighs and heads toward the kitchen. I can't bring myself to follow. A few minutes later, I hear the coffee maker's low gurgle, the faint clink of a spoon. The smells of coffee are comforting, but the tension in the air is crushing. I want to talk, to shout, to smash something. But my anger is locked under my skin, coiling tighter. Eventually, I drag myself into the kitchen, stand there while she pours 2 cups. She slides one toward me without meeting my gaze. You were out last night. It's not a question, more of an observation. I needed air, I reply. She nods, sips her coffee. A patch of morning light spills through the window, illuminating her hair and making it glow. She looks heartbreakingly beautiful, like an actress in a tragic film scene. My chest tightens with the memory of her betrayal. I can't take the silence. Did you actually love me at some point? She exhales, sets the mug down. She looks like she might say something biting, but instead her shoulders slump. I think so, she confesses, voice subdued. But love changes. You changed. I changed. I snort. Yes, you definitely changed. Her eyes narrow. Don't pretend you were the perfect husband. You think working late and bringing home a paycheck is enough. You barely noticed me anymore. You didn't care if I stayed or went. All you cared about was a facade of stability. My voice rises. That's not fair, isn't it? She snaps. When was the last time you asked me about my dreams, my work, my feelings? All you ever said was, "How was your day?" In that half-distracted tone, then you bury your face in your phone or computer. It's called being an adult. I shoot back. We were building a life together. It's not always about excitement and thrills. She shakes her head, a rueful smile curving her lips, and that's precisely why I looked elsewhere. Because I wanted more than just monotony. Her phone buzzes again. She glances at it, then quickly rejects the call, picking up her coffee like the conversation is over. A savage pulse of jealousy grits me. Trevor is waiting on the other end. He's intruding into every moment, every conversation, like a silent invader that's taken my marriage hostage. I want to rage, to throw the mug against the wall. But I do neither. Instead, I take a slow breath, set my own cup down. Something inside me has shifted since last night. The old me is gone. The new me is forging a path. Quiet, calculated. You said I was never your choice, I begin. But you know what? You were mine. And I still love you, even after all this. That's my burden to carry, I guess. She blinks. Love me. After everything. Yeah. I say, my throat tight. Don't ask me why. It's twisted, but I do. But that doesn't mean I'll just let you off easy. You want me to sign some divorce papers so you can run off with him. I won't do it. You want me to lash out so you can paint me as the villain. I won't do that either. Enjoy living in the mess you created. Something flashes in her eyes. Fear, maybe uncertainty. She sets the mug down too quickly, hot coffee sloshing over her fingers. She flinches. Don't threaten me. I'm not threatening, I say quietly. I'm stating a fact. You'll live with what you've done. And I'll be right here, every day. My presence will remind you. Her expression hardens, but I see the flicker of doubt. She steps back, wiping her hand on a towel. She tries to gather herself, but the facade cracks. So that's your plan. Be some silent judge haunting me. I shrug. Not silent. Just consistent. After all, I pay the bills here, remember. I keep the house. Or as you so delicately put it in your emails to him, I hold the house. Fine. I'll hold it. She doesn't answer. We stand there, locked in a stalemate. Then, abruptly, she grabs her phone and storms out of the kitchen. Moments later, the bedroom door slams. I lean against the counter, exhaling. My entire body is shaking from suppressed fury, heartbreak, and a sick kind of triumph. I didn't yell, didn't break anything, but my words just might have cut deeper. The next few days pass in a blur of tension. She mostly avoids me, staying either locked in the bedroom or away on errands. I keep up my routine. Wake early, go to work, come home. The difference is the silence that cloaks the house when I return. She's there, but she's either in another room or wearing headphones, or on the phone in hushed tones. I know who she's talking to, of course. At first, it's excruciating, the quiet. We used to greet each other, or at least exchange perfunctory updates about the day. Now we circle like strangers forced to share a motel room, refusing to so much as meet each other's eyes. But then something odd happens. I start to feel empowered by that hush. Each day that she remains under this roof, forced to confront the consequences of her betrayal, is a small victory for me. She can't run off to Trevor without consequence. She's trapped by her own inertia, by her reluctance to face the financial, social, emotional fallout. I recall the lines in her emails about him being needed for something important. The subtext is obvious. He was the father of the child she carried for a few weeks last year. The child that never had a chance. She told me it was mine, and I believed her. In those few days, I was actually excited. We'd been trying for a while, and I thought maybe this was our fresh start. Then she had a miscarriage, or so she said. In hindsight, it's all so tangled that I'm not sure what's true. Maybe she never wanted a child with me in the first place. That memory stings so fiercely that I can't stay in the house. I go for a drive, heading nowhere specific, just letting the city lights blur in the car windows. At some point, my phone buzzes, a message from an unknown number. We need to talk. Face to face. I suspect it's Trevor. Heart hammering, I pull into a gas station. I type back, "Who is this?" The reply comes almost immediately. I'm sure you can guess. He wants to meet, presumably. Maybe he thinks we can find some gentlemanly agreement about my wife, as though she's a piece of property to be negotiated. The nerve. I let the phone sit in my lap while I stare at the reflection of the neon gas station sign on my hood. Then I type, "Fine. Where?" A few minutes pass. The phone pings again with an address, some upscale bar near the city center. "Tonight," he adds. It's reckless to say yes, but everything about my life feels reckless these days. So I drive there, ignoring the swirl of caution in my brain. The bar is low-lit, slick with modern decor. I walk in, scanning the patrons. Then I spot him. He's the same confident presence I remember from our house tour. Broad-shouldered, tailored suit, hair styled with precision. He raises his chin at me in some mock greeting. I slide onto the seat across from him in a secluded booth. The overhead lamp throws warm light across the polished wooden table. He studies me a second, as if we're competitors in a boxing match about to begin. "Thanks for coming," he says, voice smooth, assured. "You have 30 minutes, I reply curtly. "Make it quick." He smirks, swirling a glass of whiskey. Straight to the point. I like that. Then he leans in slightly, lowering his voice. "Look, we both know what's going on. I didn't come here to rub it in your face. I came to see if we can handle this like adults." I bark a short laugh. Adults? That's interesting, coming from the guy sleeping with my wife. His face remains composed, though there's a slight tension in his jaw. "It takes two, you know. She's not innocent. She came to me. I never forced her." I grit my teeth. What do you want, Trevor? He exhales. She's unhappy. She needs out. And I can provide for her. You see, we're good together. We have a future. I don't want this to drag on, become messy. I'm willing to help facilitate a clean break. I stare at him, hardly believing his gall. You're offering me, what? A payout? You think you can buy my cooperation? He shrugs, as though the suggestion is perfectly reasonable. I know how divorces can be. Lawyers, court fees. It gets expensive. I can offset some costs. And if it helps, I can guarantee the house sells at a premium if you decide to move on. Real estate is my game. My blood surges hot. You think I care about money right now? He smiles, a shallow business-like expression. Everyone cares about money, especially in a crisis. Look, I'm not your enemy. We're just men who fell in love with the same woman. I set my palms on the table, fighting the urge to strike him. Listen carefully. I'm not falling for your pitch. You want me to quietly step aside so you can prance in and whisk her away. Give her your fancy lifestyle, your big deals, your illusions of grandeur. I lean forward, voice low and seething. No, Trevor. I will not just hand over the last 10 years of my life so you can add me to your list of victories. He meets my gaze with cool composure. This is about pride then. Face it, she's with me. She wants to be with me, not you. Dragging this out only hurts her. And maybe it hurts you too. She's not a commodity for you to trade or negotiate. I spit. And if she's so desperate to be with you, why hasn't she left yet? Trevor opens his mouth, then clamps it shut. The moment of hesitation reveals more than any words could. Perhaps he's been pressing her to make a move, but something is holding her back. Maybe she fears losing something. Maybe it's me, or the guilt, or the house. I feel a dark wave of satisfaction swirl through me. I stand abruptly, my chair scraping the floor. You want to talk about this like men? Fine. Here's the deal. She made her choice. She chose to cheat, to sign your little contract, whatever that was. Now she can figure out her next move. I'm not doing a damn thing to smooth this out for either of you. You want her so badly. Good luck prying her out of the cage she built for herself. But let me be crystal clear. I will make sure you both regret this if you come at me again. Trevor's composure cracks for a split second. Shock, maybe anger. Then he recovers, gives a small shrug, as if bored. All right, he says lightly. If you want to go down that road, it's your choice. But I guarantee you this. She'll come to me in the end, and you'll end up alone. I give him a cold smile. Better alone than living a lie. With that, I turn on my heel and walk away, pulse hammering, adrenaline roaring in my veins. Outside, the city lights glare at me from every angle. My mind is swirling with resentment and an unexpected surge of grim satisfaction. He wants a neat little resolution. Screw that. They both destroyed any neatness when they chose to betray me in my own home. The next few weeks unfold in an ever-thickening silence. She and I share the house like uneasy ghosts. Some nights I come home to find her sitting at the kitchen table, phone in hand, eyes red like she's been crying. Other nights, she's out until midnight, creeping in with muffled steps. I don't ask where she goes. She doesn't volunteer. But each time I see her, there's a flicker of frustration, or maybe fear, in her eyes. I keep expecting some dramatic confrontation, a barrage of accusations or pleas. But she seems caught between two worlds. She knows I won't budge, that I won't give her the easy route to freedom. And deep down, perhaps she's conflicted about how cleanly she can break from the life we built. In the meantime, I quietly gather my own weapons. Bank records, property deeds, anything that proves the house is primarily in my name. She made it clear in her messages to Trevor that I was here to hold the house. So I'll do exactly that. It's petty, maybe, but I feel no remorse. If she wants to walk away, I won't stop her. But she'll walk away with nothing. One evening, I get home from work, And she's waiting in the living room, the lamp behind her casting a ring of light on the floor. She's wearing that same silky robe, as though she's put in an effort to look appealing. A knot forms in my gut. She looks up at me with big, shining eyes that I once adored. "Can we talk?" she asks softly. I set my briefcase down, linger by the doorway. "What about?" She stands slowly, crossing her arms. "Everything. I'm tired, Michael. Tired of this standoff." I let out a humorless laugh. "You think I'm enjoying it?" She steps closer. I catch a hint of her perfume, the familiar, faint floral scent. "Look, I know you hate me right now. I don't blame you. I did something unforgivable. But maybe we can figure out a way to end this without destroying each other." A flicker of hope and anger war within me. "End this how? You want a divorce, right? So you can be with Trevor?" She hesitates, nibbling her lower lip. "I'm not sure anymore." My eyebrows shoot up. "You're not sure? You were so sure I wasn't enough. You told me to my face." She exhales shakily. "I know. I didn't expect you to react like this. You used to be passive, Michael. You'd do anything to avoid conflict. Now, you're stronger, in a way. And I can't figure out if that makes me hate you or—" She cuts herself off, frowning. "Or what?" I prod, heart thudding. She rubbed her arms as though cold. "Or makes me realize what I might lose if I leave." She raises her gaze to me, eyes wet. "I do care about you, even if it doesn't seem like it. That might sound selfish after what I've done, but it's true." I stare at her, searching her face for any sign of authenticity. My mind flickers to the explicit messages with Trevor, the talk of a contract, the humiliating discovery that she used me for stability. Yet the way she's looking at me now tugs at old emotions. I still love some part of her. But I also know that love can be twisted, perverse, a thorny vine, choking out my self-respect. Finally, I say, it's too late for an apology. And I'm not going to pretend things can go back to normal. Her face crumples. "I know. Can we at least talk about what a separation might look like?" There it is. The crux of it all. The separation conversation. My jaw sets. Why talk about it now? You have a fancy real estate agent waiting. He's probably promised you the world. Isn't that enough? She crosses to the couch, sinks down onto it. He's pushy. He expects me to leave you, sell the house, move in with him. He wants everything now. And I'm realizing, maybe that's not what I want, either. He's always pushing, controlling, needing me to do things his way. I almost laugh at the irony. She's caught between two controlling men now, in her eyes. One, Trevor, who demands she cut ties, and one me, who refuses to give her an easy out. My anger simmers. "Sounds like a problem you created," I say flatly. She bows her head. "I know, but I'm stuck." I watch her, noticing the slump of her shoulders, the trembling in her hands. A swirl of conflicting pity and bitterness churns in my chest. On one hand, part of me wants to see her suffer. On the other hand, I can't fully erase the memories of how I once cared for her, how we were partners for years. "Don't expect me to rescue you," I say. "I'm done playing the savior." She nods, tears slipping down her cheeks. Then, with a shaky breath, she stands and moves toward me, closing the gap between us. Her hand hovers near my arm. "I'm so sorry," she whispers. "Truly, I never meant for it to hurt this much. I was just restless. Against my better judgment, I feel a pang of sympathy." My hand twitches, almost wanting to hold her. But then the memory of her betrayal flares bright in my mind. I step back. Sorry doesn't fix it. She sucks in a shaky breath and turns away, heading for the bedroom. The moment she's gone, I let out a roar of frustration, punching the air, because I can't punch anything else without risking my own sanity. Then I sink onto the couch, burying my face in my hands, wrestling with the ache that's carved itself into my gut. Days turn into weeks. She and Trevor continue to have hush-hush arguments on the phone. I overhear snatches. I just need more time. You said you'd fix this. Don't pressure me. It's clear that the cracks in their relationship are showing. Meanwhile, I keep to my routine, ignoring her as much as possible. We exist like two cold satellites orbiting the same planet, but the tension has to break eventually. And it does one night when Trevor shows up unannounced. I come home from work, set my keys on the entryway table, and hear raised voices from the living room. The lamp is lit, throwing swaying shadows on the walls, reminiscent of that first night when she told me I was never her choice. He's standing by the window, his posture rigid, while she stands near the couch, arms folded protectively across her chest. Their argument halts the moment I cross the threshold. Trevor's eyes flick to me, and a bitter smile curves his lips. Perfect timing, he says. I glance at her. She looks pale, anxious. What's going on? I ask, voice low. She swallows. He came here, demanding answers. I told him to leave, but Trevor interrupts, stepping toward me. I'm done waiting in limbo, he snaps. She's been giving me excuses for weeks now. I want clarity. A savage satisfaction thrums in my veins. The mighty Trevor is losing his grip. You want clarity. I echo, crossing my arms. Then here it is. She's still here, not with you. Maybe that tells you something. He glares at me, then turns to her. You said you were leaving him, he accuses. Didn't you? Or was that a lie too? She bristles. I just need. He throws up a hand. Time. Right. More time. That's all you ever say. Meanwhile, I'm the one left hanging, looking like a fool. I almost laugh at the irony. He brandishes a manila folder. You see this? It's a property contract on a penthouse I found for us downtown. I was ready to finalize it. For you. For us. But you keep stalling. She blinks. You never asked if that's even what I wanted. Trevor's voice trembles with rage. You said you hated this place, that you felt suffocated. I gave you an alternative. That's what you wanted, wasn't it? They're so busy arguing they barely notice me. I lean against the wall, arms crossed, letting them wrestle verbally. She stammers about feeling pressured, about needing to figure things out. He rails against her indecision. Finally, he turns to me, face flushed. You're loving this, aren't you? He accuses, watching us tear each other apart. I shrug. You caused this mess together. I just happen to live here. He curses under his breath, turning on her again. You lied to me. He spits. You said you'd leave him as soon as he found out. That was months ago. You said once the truth was on the table, you'd be free. Well, you're not free. She closes her eyes, pained. I never thought it would be so complicated. And now? I don't know. Her voice breaks. Trevor's face twists with disdain. He steps closer to her. You used me, he says, voice dropping ominously. All that talk about me making you feel alive. Maybe it was just a game to you. The same way you toyed with him. Her mouth falls open, tears glistening. That's not true, she manages. I did. I do care about you, but I can't just snap my fingers and. He cuts her off with a scornful laugh. You can't. Or you won't. Then he glances at me, sneering. Congratulations. You both deserve each other. She grips the arm of the couch as he turns sharply, heading for the door. I watch him go, a flurry of conflicting emotions inside me. Part of me wants to grin in triumph. Part of me wants to throw up. As the front door slams behind him, the entire house seems to sigh in relief. She stands there trembling, tears sliding down her cheeks. The lamp overhead flickers again, casting sporadic bursts of light. I push off from the wall, approach her slowly. For a moment, we just stare at each other, the air thick with everything unsaid. Then, with a broken sob, she collapses forward. I catch her, steady her, my arms around her body. Something that used to be the most natural gesture in the world now feels weighted with betrayal. I'm sorry, she whispers between sobs, pressing her face into my chest. I messed up everything. I thought I wanted more, and now everything is destroyed. A hollow feeling lodges in my gut, but I hold her anyway, the warmth of her body sinking into mine. I realize, with a painful clarity, that a part of me still yearns for her, still wants the closeness we once had. It's maddening because I know what she did, and I hate her for it. Yet I can't stop my heart from beating faster at her touch. She lifts her tear-streaked face. Do you hate me? She asks, voice quivering. I swallow, not sure how to answer. I hate what you did, I say slowly. But hate you. That's complicated. She sniffles, wiping her eyes. I can't leave you. I can't stay with you. I'm stuck. I nod, feeling the weight of those words. Stuck, I echo. Maybe that's your punishment. This house, these memories. It's all you have now. Her lips quiver. And what about you? My mouth twists. I'm free, I say softly, surprising myself. Inside. Anyway. I mean, it still hurts, but I don't feel bound by you anymore. You're the one bound by your own guilt. She flinches, tears dripping onto her robe. We stand there for a moment, the flickering lamp highlighting the devastation on her face. I think back to the day we moved into this house, how happy she seemed. Did she fake that too? Or did she truly believe in us at one point? I'll never know. Suddenly, I can't bear the sight of her tears. I gently ease her onto the couch, then step away. The overhead flicker stops, leaving the room in steady, dim light. My voice emerges, cracked but steady. I'm going to bed. Good night. She doesn't speak. She just nods, hugging her knees to her chest. Over the next days, it becomes clear Trevor has withdrawn. Maybe his pride is too wounded. Maybe she finally severed ties. She doesn't mention him, nor do I ask. Meanwhile, life continues in a bizarre facsimile of normalcy. We still share a roof, occasionally share the same space. But the air is charged with sorrow, regret, and unresolved longing. One afternoon, I come home early from work. I find her in the backyard, sitting on the patio step, staring at nothing. The late sun bathes her hair in gold. For a moment, the sight of her like that, peaceful, reflective, shakes me. She turns as she hears me approach. Without preamble, she says, I told him not to call anymore. I told him I'm done. I remain standing. A gentle breeze rustles the trees. Why? She shrugs, eyes distant. He wanted everything too fast, in a way that felt reckless. And I realized I was lying to myself. Maybe I wanted some excitement, but I never truly imagined living in his world long term. He's hollow. Then she snorts softly. Guess that makes me hollow too. I fold my arms, trying to process what she's saying. I still expect her to blame me, to call me lacking. But instead, she looks me in the eye. I know I've lost your trust, she says, voice trembling. And I understand if you can't ever forgive me. But I just want you to know I'm sorry. And I don't expect you to fix any of this. You said it yourself. You're done saving me. I have to live with what I did. She stands, smoothing her skirt. The sun dips behind a cloud, casting a shadow over the yard. I'll start packing my things soon, she says. If you want me gone, I mean. I'll figure out a place to go. I can't afford much on my own, but I'll manage. And there it is, an exit, offered plainly. I stare at her, torn between relief and an inexplicable pang of sorrow. A few months ago, I would have seized on that offer, demanded she leave. Let her taste the consequences of her actions. But now, seeing her broken down, the anger inside me feels aimless. I exhale, feeling a strange emptiness. Do what you think you have to do, I say, voice calm. She nods, steps past me, and heads inside. The screen door creaks and closes behind her. I remain on the patio, gazing at the lawn we once cared for together. We planted flowers in the spring, had barbecues with friends. So many illusions of a life that was stable and real. She starts packing that weekend, quietly folding clothes into suitcases. I notice she only takes what's strictly hers. No fights about furniture or shared items. She avoids my eyes as she moves from room to room. The hush between us is thick with finality. On Sunday night, I find her in the bedroom, zipping up the last suitcase. Her eyes flick to me. "I found a small apartment," she murmurs. "Short-term lease. Not too fancy, but it'll do." I just nod. It's the moment we both saw coming. She has tears glistening in her eyes again, but she doesn't let them fall. There's a strength in her voice, as though she's accepting the self-imposed sentence. She picks up the suitcase. I see a tremble in her hand. Before she leaves the room, she looks back at me. There's a tension in the air, like she wants to say something profound. But all she manages is, "Goodbye, Michael." Then she's gone, footsteps echoing down the hall. The front door opens and closes. The final hush that follows feels like a deep vacuum, an absence where something used to be. I just stand there, feeling both lighter and heavier at once. She's gone, and yet I'm left with the wreckage. In the days after her departure, I wander through the house like a man in an abandoned theater, stage lights off, seats empty. I move her empty hangers from the closet, store them in a cardboard box. Her side of the bed is bare. The first night, I sleep with the lamp on, as though to chase away the memory of that flickering overhead light that once cast us into tense half-shadows. One morning, while cleaning the living room, I find an old photo album tucked behind the couch. Photos of us on our wedding day, smiling bright under a summer sun. I feel my chest tighten. God, we looked so happy, young and naive, sure that love would conquer everything. I should toss the album in the trash, but I don't. Instead, I set it aside in my office. Part of me can't quite destroy every remnant. Let it be a reminder of who I was, who I became, and what I lost. Weeks pass. Her messages come sporadically, a request for some document, an update that she's found a new job contract, a note that she's dealing with finances. She never asks to see me, and I never offer. We're civil but distant. One evening, while I'm sitting alone on the couch, I think about how I used to picture the future. Kids, maybe a dog, family holidays. All gone. Yet I'm no longer paralyzed by anger. I realize I've reached a strange acceptance. She was never my choice. Perhaps I was never truly hers. But we gave each other something for a while. Some stability, some illusions of love. Now it's over, and we both bear scars. I gaze out the window at the city lights. My reflection stares back. I remember the day she told me, in that frigid tone, that I was never her choice. Now I think, ironically, I finally choose myself. The man I used to be would have crumbled, done anything to keep her. The man I am now has walked through fire. He knows heartbreak intimately. He also knows he can survive it. I close my eyes, leaning my head against the couch. The hush in the house is deeper than any silence I've felt before. But it's a different silence now, not the suffocating quiet of betrayal. It's the quiet of aftermath. When the war is over, the battered soldier can finally lay down his weapon and contemplate the future. The city's neon glow spills into the living room. I breathe in, exhale, letting tension drain from my shoulders. This is the final stage. I'm alone but unchained. My heart is scared, but not broken beyond repair. I'll live with what she did, but I won't let it define me. As I sit there, I realize there's no dramatic killing blow, no grand gesture of revenge. My revenge was simply letting her remain trapped in her own guilt until she couldn't take it anymore. Now she's gone, and I'm here, free. In the hush of that realization, I hear my own breath. No pounding rage, no desperate pleas, just quiet acceptance and a subdued sense of triumph. I was her silent condemnation, and she had to flee from it. Now, in the wake of her footsteps, I am left with the one thing I thought I'd never have again. Peace. That peace is my final reward. A hush so profound it almost feels like a roar. Or maybe it's just the sound of me finally letting go.